Hi guys, welcome back to the show. It's me again here in the Batcave bringing you another movie review. And it's funny that I say Batcave because this week's movie review is going to be Batman v Superman. And it's only going to be a non-spoiler review. So we're not going to get too in-depth as far as too many plot points in this film. We're also not going to go too in-depth as far as details. I'm going to kind of give you a little high overview of what my thoughts were on the film. We'll wait till next week when my co-host has had an opportunity to get out and see the film, and we'll go ahead and discuss everything, spoilers all across the board for this particular film. It'll also give you an opportunity to get out there and see the film if you haven't seen it yourself, so that way we can all come back and discuss it next week. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it. Now the plot of this film, it basically takes us 2 years after the original Man of Steel film, after the fight with Zod and the Kryptonians and the collateral damage left to Metropolis. So this film basically has Superman actually being Superman and how the public views him and how he deals with the impact of his actions. We also get introduced to Batman and his character being a vigilante in Gotham. It's kind of in the shadows, a little bit underground. Not everybody knows about him, but at least the police know about him. He becomes aware of Superman from the events that took place in Man of Steel, and he's dealing with the fact that, is Superman a menace? Is Superman a threat to humanity? And if he should do something to stop him before he becomes that, even though he may not be that at this particular point. Superman is also dealing with becoming aware of Batman and how he deals out his form of justice and whether it's something that should be stopped. So that was kind of brings them together for their particular feud. We also get to meet Lex Luthor, our new Lex Luthor. Jesse Eisenberg is our Lex Luthor. And we also get to see Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. So these are great things that we knew going into the film. So when I do these movie reviews, I always talk to you guys about my goods and bads. So we're going to start with the goods. And the goods of this film is that it had a lot of action. This film probably brought us the most action in any DC film that we've seen so far. Even taking in consideration the 3 Batmans that we saw from Christian Bale. Even taking into consideration Green Lantern. I know you guys, before you give me hate mail, didn't quite like Green Lantern, but like I said, this film gave us tons of action. I know it was a lengthy film at 2.5 hours, but for 2.5 hours we had things going on the whole 2.5 hours. Now, other goods with this is that Batman. I know Batfleck was an issue when he was first cast, especially after the Daredevil thing, but he did an amazing job as Batman. We didn't get to see him for too much as Bruce Wayne, but for Batman and what he gave us as Batman, he did an amazing job. We always talked about Batman as being a martial arts master and knowing basically every style, but we never got to see that in any other films. It's always like Bat Gadget this, Bat Gadget that. In this particular movie, Batman could just cream people just like you would see in like the Arkham game. So he did a great job as Batman. I know in some other reviews people have been talking about Wonder Woman being a standout. Wonder Woman was a great impact, was a great input to this film. I can't say she did like an amazing thing, was the best thing about this film, but her being in this movie was actually something that was needed and benefited the film. So much to when you actually got to see her on screen, you were like hyped that she was there, and you were ready for her to get in action. It didn't feel like they bloated the film, threw her in there just to throw her in here as a name. They gave her something to do and a point to be in the film. So that was a great thing to have her in the film. Superman was great too, because they tried to learn from some of the lessons that they did, or some of the things that they did wrong in Man of Steel by not having him save people. Superman actually saves people in this film. And the way he saves them, like I said, you could tell that they were trying to do something to make up for Man of Steel. I guess those are probably my goods. Obviously, it looked pretty. It was a Zack Snyder film. You know, his visual style is one thing that, you know, it defines him. So I'm gonna go ahead and move to the bads. And I don't want to go into the bad saying like making it sound like I didn't like the film, but I'm gonna at least address the things that I had problems with. And one of the things that I had problems with, as I mentioned before, as I said, that we got introduced to Lex Luthor. So Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor didn't fit the film. You know, at least not for me. It didn't fit the film. I saw some people actually said that they actually liked him. His Jesse Eisenberg's his portrayal of Lex Luthor, but I think it was distracting. It was a little bit over the top, and we're always used to a determined, focused Lex Luthor who always has like a hidden agenda and another plot and plan, that something that's going to help him. This Lex Luthor kind of seemed like he didn't have a lot of motivation. He was just doing things to be doing them, and it just seemed like when he revealed his master plan, you almost left thinking like, okay, well, if you succeed, what then? And they never really focused on what he was trying to get out of succeeding, and I thought was a major issue with the film. Also, too, like I said, his mannerisms and his personality were too over the top for the theme and the tension they were trying to set in this film. Like I said, it was just totally distracting. Other bads that I had with this film is that when they built up all this tension for the fight between Batman and Superman, it was way too short. It was way too short. I mean, you felt like you were finally there and you're ready for it, and then boom, it was over. Another bad that I had with it is that the motivations for the fight, we had this whole setup with, you know, I'm going to stop you because you feel like you're a threat to humanity. I'm going to stop you because I don't like the way that you deal out justice. And then they undercut it with another subplot that was like, well, why would you take away from what was a great theme going into the fight? And that subplot just kind of totally just, it lessened the fight for me with the film, is that it actually forced in way too much. And I know I said that Wonder Woman didn't seem out of place for the film, and she didn't. But we knew we were getting the Justice League. We knew we were getting another set of characters that were coming up in the film. But when they introduced them, they didn't introduce them to where they felt natural appearing in the film. They kind of did a montage style, and it just felt like, oh, we're throwing this in there because we want to set up the universe as much as we possibly can, as fast as we possibly can, so you know that these are the people we have playing these particular characters. And you just felt like, wow, that was like, didn't need to be in there. If they weren't going to set them up to where they were part of the story, then they shouldn't have put them into it at all. And I don't know if this was a studio thing or a Zack Snyder thing, but it was one of the things where they should have just left it alone. The other part where I felt like it was too much is that they went, and I'm trying not to be too spoilerific, but Batman vs. Superman is not going to be your only storyline in here. You're going to get another storyline, and it's going to feel like they raced through it. Like they went way too fast because they were trying to force it in there just to put their particular universe at a certain point. Now, they do it, but like I said, they went so fast into it, it didn't have the impact that particular storyline should have had. And if you guys have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen it, you'll see it when you come across it. So that's probably like the things that I felt like were the worst parts of the movie. And I said at the beginning, I didn't want to make it seem like I didn't like this movie, because I did like this movie. But there's two schools of thoughts, at least in the reviews that I've seen so far, is that people really like it or people really hate it. And I'm saying that this film is neither. This film is just okay. It's right in the middle. And the way you're going to look at it is that if you're a big comic book fan and you believe in like storylines and things sticking to the particular canon of the comic books, you can be a little disappointed in how they do things, but it's not that bad. I mean, people change. I mean, stories get changed in movies all the time. It's not that big of an issue. And if you are a person who just are aware of that Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman exists, this film is going to be great for you because you're not going to have any preconceived notions going into the film, and you're going to enjoy it as is. So if you haven't seen this film, go into this film with nothing in your head. Just go into it expecting a great action film that dealt with Batman, Superman, and had Wonder Woman and some other characters that are also in this film. But I think that's all I really have on this particular film. Like I said, we are going to do a spoiler review next week. And next week we'll go more into detail. I can talk about all these things I was kind of hinting to in this review. And then at that point, you can get to know my full view of this film. So I'll see you guys next week, but remember to make sure you like, subscribe, and comment on this video. Let us know the things that you like and the other movies that you wanted me to review. I was trying to see if there was something else out there this week, but Batman vs. Superman was really killing the theaters, so this was really the only thing out there to review, and I wanted to at least, give you guys my initial thoughts on the film. And like I said, when you guys got a chance to see the full movie, and my co-host has seen it, we're going to go and we're going to sit down and we're going to break it down in complete. So, other than that, I'll see you guys next week. Take care.